Hello, and thank you for joining us for one of our BNI San Diego podcast. I'm really delighted today to be joined by a very special guest, Mark Appelbaum, whom you've probably heard of and or seen on one of our previous or multiple of our previous podcasts. Mark, welcome to the show today.
Thanks, Ed. Thanks for having me back.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always great to have you. And I'm excited because today it's really going to be, and I want to clarify, this is going to be a BNI centric podcast. You know, a lot of times we're talking about various things on business and whatnot. This one is really going to be hitting home on BNI and our referral partners and kind of what we're looking for. Mark, what's our topic going to be today?
So today's topic is, are you on the field or are you in the stands?
Ooh, I'm liking that one already. Let's delve right on in.
So question for you, Ed, when you've been to, I'm guessing, some professional sporting events?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So out of these two options, which one's making the money? The players on the field or the spectators in the stands?
Oh, definitely the players on the field. I had to spend money to get into the stand.
Yes, the spectators are paying money to watch the game go by.
Yep.
Well, in BNI, we are not looking for spectators. This won't work for you if you're going to be a spectator. The only way BNI works is if you're going to be on the stands. Now, what is being on the well, the only way this is going to work for you is if you're on the field. Let me clarify that. The only way is if you're on the field. Now, what does being on the field in BNI look like? You know, BNI founder Ivan Misner has a saying that successful people do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times. Well, luckily in BNI, we have 5. We have 5 proven money-making activities. So to go over them, let's work on them together, Ed. So the first activity is show up.
Ooh, you mean you actually have to show up?
You actually have to show up.
Can't phone it in?
You can't just phone it in.
No.
Then you're really a spectator.
Yeah, that's very true.
Now,
so attendance, show up, be in the moment. Yeah.
Be in the moment, be present. You know, your vice president may mark you present during the meeting, but are you really present during the meeting? Because that is a money-making activity. That is being on the field. Because if you're taking notes and engaged in a meeting, or are you sitting there, I'm sitting, yeah, I'm doing work. Yep, nope, that's not being on the field.
Number 2.
So step 2 of being on the field is, if step 1 is show up, step 2 is learn how to show up, which is doing the education that BNI provides.
CEUs or education units.
And we have a educational portal that comes with your membership, which in my opinion is worth just the cost of membership, is the BNI Business Builder, which has over 850 podcasts and other webinars, most having to do with BNI, but many have nothing to do with BNI. Some are about sales, management, organization, leadership, mindset, marketing. And if you invest, and the goal is to invest an hour a week in that education. And we've all heard the phrase, the more you learn, the more you earn.
Absolutely. And I love the word that you used there, the investment word, right? Because anything we do, and if we're gonna partake in this, if we're gonna be on a baseball field, a football field, whatever, a soccer field, or football, soccer, depending on where you are in the world, you know, it's an investment of your time and your talent to get better, to play, to perform. I mean, I love it. So I love that, really, in that investment portion of our conversation today.
Yeah, talking about that investment, we're in January, the first part of the year. Probably many people out there listening to this just joined a gym.
Yep.
Now, which works better? What, paying for your membership and walking in and watching everyone work out, or you actually working out yourself?
You mean paying for it doesn't mean that I automatically am.
Yeah, I walked into the gym and all of a sudden there's muscles. No, you got to be on the field. You got to actually exercise. So step 1 is show up. Step 2 is learn how to show up. Step 3 is spend time with your referral partners doing one-to-ones.
You mean,
because if you're not doing one-to-ones, that's like the biggest money-making activity in BNI is one-to-ones, as you know.
Well, wait. Now let's pause there for a minute. How is it that now, and some of our listeners, they're so good at what they do and their time in BNI that they know it like that. But for those that are not as familiar with BNI and they're coming in, why is doing one-to-ones, why is that a money generating activity?
Great question. So I'd like to connect it to any type of marketing. Like if you were to spend X amount of dollars on a billboard, would you put the billboard up for a day and go, hey, how come my phone's not ringing?
No,
No,
not at
you have
all.
to be consistent with your message. People have to see you regularly to know that you're going to be around tomorrow and a month from now and a year from now. And so that one-to-one is staying top of mind and those members you're meeting with staying top of mind with you. And it's a fact in BNI that the members that do the most one-to-ones, as long as they're not just, hey, how's life and how's the weather, as long as they're really asking deeper questions on what can I be listening for? What's a good golden goose for you?
Hmm.
When you're really delving into those one-to-ones and building those relationships and spending more time regularly meeting with them, you become more top of mind for them. They become more top of mind for you. And it's a fact that, well, not just a fact, but I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of members that they did a one-to-one, and then later that day they ran into somebody that said, hey, do you know somebody that does this? And they're like, just this morning, I met with somebody that does exactly that. I can help you out.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. I mean, you know, as the saying goes, how can I refer to you until I get to know you?
Yeah.
Right. And those one-to-ones, there's many elements to it. Obviously, there's building the relationship. We're getting to know each other. We're learning what areas we have in common, whether it's sports, working out, dogs, kids, whatever it is.
Mhm.
But then there's that business focus, that very intentional business focus on, okay, now that we've learned a bit about each other, Mark, how can I want to look at, your 10 best customers. I want to look at what you've done. I want to hear about that. I want to learn how to bring you a referral next week.
Mhm.
And it's our opportunity to really delve in and be intentional and come out with a game plan on what we're going to do for each other. What's our commitment to one another? Just like, as we're talking about this element of the field, just like our commitment to our fellow players on that field, they need to know that we're present. They need to know that we're in it with them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, and this is a little rabbit trail here, but to think about when somebody new that comes on a team, it takes a few weeks, a few months for them to really start gelling and get the rhythm because they're learning the dynamics of the team, the dynamics of the people, and where I belong.
Yeah.
So those one-to-ones, as you're talking about, are a key factor in delving in and becoming a part of this team.
Exactly. I'm so glad you added all that because like whether it's a team in sports or your BNI referral team, you want to make sure that everyone there has your back and that they want to make sure you have their back.
Yes.
And when you know that for sure, you're unbeatable.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Okay, so we have show up. We have educate yourself through CEUs and what we call them BNI CEUs or chapter education units.
Mhm.
We have this wonderful thing called the one-to-ones, which is an opportunity to get to know people. So that's 3. So what's number 4?
Number 4 is, and it leads perfectly right after the one-to-ones, while you're meeting with fellow members, one of the questions you could be asking for is, who are your referral partners? Who are your golden geese? Who are the people that are talking to the people you want to be talking to? Because when they answer those questions, that will lead to who you could invite that you may know that would help them build their business more. So let's say you're a chiropractor, Ed, and I go, hey, Ed, who are the kind of people we don't have in a chapter that if we had would be good referral partners for you? And you say a personal trainer, a massage therapist, a physical therapist, a essential oils person. Well, let's say I knew a personal trainer. My next approach, my next action would be calling that personal trainer friend and saying, hey, personal trainer friend, I have a great chiropractor that is looking to build a referral relationship up with a
personal trainer. Would you be interested in meeting them? Most likely, if they're looking to grow their business, they're going to say yes. And if and when they do, great. What are you doing next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever the day your meeting is? Love to have you meet Ed and a bunch of other people who could potentially refer you business.
So so that fourth element is the inviting, right? It's about inviting people in. And as you were talking, it got my mind thinking again, the reason that we're inviting them in, and ideally we would love to be able to invite them on the team, and then they end up becoming a part of the team, is, and it just went right out of my head. I'm having one of those moments. You know when you have one of those moments?
Never.
So we're inviting them in. Holy moly. Well, let's go ahead and keep talking, and I'll come back to that one.
And, if I could rewind for a minute, going back to the one-to-ones, because there's something that is really crucial for those that may not see the value of a one-to-one, is if you become a member of BNI, and if you are a member of BNI and you're not going to do one-to-ones, it's almost as if you just gave 20, 30, 40 people your business card and said, go grow my business. Because if you're not going to meet with them, that's in essence what you're doing. But if you're going to spend time with them, learning about you, you're learning about them, that's how you build a culture of relationships, fostering opportunities for one another. So
it's that element of showing up for practice.
Yeah.
Right. You've got, again, going back to the analogy of being on the field with your fellow players, if you're not engaging with them and actually being a part of practice and being in the locker room and all these elements where you're building the relationships and the cohesiveness to be a part of that team, what you're basically saying by not doing one-to-ones is, hey guys, I don't have time for you guys. You guys go ahead and practice. I'll just be at the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's going to happen? You're going to fail every time.
Yeah.
Because in order to really, be a game player, a teammate, you've got to build the relationship with one another.
Yep. So one-to-ones leads to visitors. And then with visitors, we just talked about that, the importance of inviting. Again, it's not your job, my job, anyone's job to sell BNI. It's our commitment to give the visitors a wow experience so that when they're there in the meeting, they're like, if it is something that would benefit them and they're looking to grow their business, we've given them a wow experience to help them move forward. But if we don't give them a great experience and they want to grow their business, they're going to go somewhere else.
Yep, absolutely.
So, and when they do, by giving them a great experience and they do move forward by you inviting them, you just added another person onto your team and another person onto your team. And what's awesome about it is your cost for membership in BNI doesn't go up with the more people in your chapter, but the more people promoting your business does.
Ooh, I love that. Right? The more people in the room is more opportunity for you to gain exposure in all of those people's spheres of influence at their home, at their business, on the soccer field. You've just now exponentially grown your exposure by inviting somebody in to be a part of that team.
Yep.
Okay, so we have show up, being present. We have education, CEU, so educating yourself. We have one-to-ones, developing the relationships in the room. And then we have inviting visitors in the room to bring them to be a part of the team. What's our final one? What's our fifth one?
The reason why everyone's in BNI, to give and receive referrals.
Yes.
And if you're doing the other four activities and you're learning how to do them more effectively, then referrals will come a lot more natural to you. Because if you're spending time with your fellow referral partners, if you're learning about who they're looking for, you will naturally start hearing people in the public having those needs. And you'll be able to go, hey, I've got a resource that I can connect you to.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, very, very true. Right. And that's ultimately what people ultimately come into BNI for, is to build those relationships that are ultimately going to produce referrals. And by doing all these things, by showing up each and every week, you're telling people in the room that I respect you, I admire you, and I am here for you. I show up to play the game. Educating ourselves, we're cutting edge, we want to make sure that we're always fine-tuning who we are as a business professional so that when we show up each and every week, we're showing up in the best possible way.
Yeah.
Our one-to-ones, developing those relationships in the room that solidify. Oh, that I just remembered what I was going to talk about on the visitor part. That solidify who we are here for, and building relationships, letting people know that we are here for one another. So that's number 3. And then number 4, from the visitor side of things, bringing people in, because guess what? And this is the point that I was thinking about earlier. The people in this room are the people that I'm going to be loyal to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know other people that are plumbers and all of these other things, but the people that are in my room, that's where my loyalty lies.
Yeah.
And which is why I'm inviting you into this room. I want to introduce you to all of my teammates, to my fellow professionals, because we're building this thing together. We're growing our businesses together. But ultimately, the person in the room that is the plumber or the realtor or the dentist or the dog walker, whatever it is, that's the person that I'm going to be loyal to.
Yeah.
So that element of being strategic on inviting who we want into the room, and then ultimately all of those things are going to ultimately produce
Mm-hmm.
the referrals when we're looking for and getting, and all the things that go with this. I love this conversation.
So, and thank you again for having me on. So for those listening, you could be in 2 different areas. One, you could be somebody who's new, or you've been around for a while, but you feel like you have been kind of a spectator. Well, this is your invitation to get on the field.
Ooh.
Again, we have 5 simple activities that are proven that if you do them and learn how to do them effectively, will build your business, will build your network, and build your income. We're here to make sure you're successful. If you're the other area where you could be is you are on the field, but you may not be getting the results you want, and it's just a matter of tweaking maybe what you're doing, maybe asking different questions during your one-to-ones, maybe listening, finding out other podcasts that can be more effective for you, or really showing up in a way where, I know one of your last visitors, Alex Terranova.
Yep.
I just did a one-to-one with Alex a couple of weeks ago. And I loved how he shifted his mindset about showing up. It was almost like showing up to get. And then when he shifted to showing up to give, it changed his whole experience with BNI. So my invitation also is for those on the membership committee of each chapter, especially if you're a quality assurance specialist, which is the individual on the membership committee who vets applications. You may even consider including this in your interview with applicants and going, hey, there's 2 types of members. Those are spectators and those that are on the field. We are looking for those that are on the field, because if you're going to be a spectator, I promise you this will not work for you. And we don't even want your money, because it's going to be a waste. We only want players that are really committed to growing their business and are wanting to work with a team of people to do the same.
Wow, what a clarifier there, right? That this is really who we're looking for. If this is you, that's wonderful, but BNI may not be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
But I also love how you've given people that are, whether it's in that the vetting process and kind of walking through that with an individual, kind of going through it with them. But even for our existing referral partners, our members, if you've been in the stands, we're inviting you to come onto the field. And on the flip side, if you've been on the field, but have had a mindset of I'm up in the stands, because that happens as well,
Mm-hmm.
we invite you to re-engage and come back and kind of be all you can be. And what I love about this analogy is there are people on the field called coaches, or in BNI, we call them directors,
Mm-hmm.
that are there to support you, to help you either re-engage or to come down the field and show you and walk you through the process on how to be a good player on the field.
Yeah.
Utilize those coaches, because they're the ones they see, because they're walking the sidelines, they're interacting, they see things from a broader perspective, and they're able to give you some coaching hints and abilities. but it's up to you to say, hey, you know what? Hey, coach, hey, director, whoever you are, I could really use some support. I'm struggling in this area. I need to get better. I need to build my skill set in this better. I need to, whether it's doing wind sprints, as Ivan talks about in one of his podcasts, or whatever the element is, that's what these people are here for. You just have to engage them and say, hey, I could use some help over here. Oh my gosh, what a fun topic and what a great visual on. And I loved how you started us with, where does the money lie, right? Who's making the money? Is it the people in the stands or is it the people on the field? And it's funny because as I think about it, and being in the stands in many arenas, you always get the individuals that are the sideline, what do they call them?
They're like backseat drivers.
Yes. So they're, oh, that guy should have did that on the
Yeah.
field. And yeah, well, why are you up in the stand? Then you should be down there, right? It's easy to give plays from way up top, or you should have did this or you should have did that, versus the people that are on the field and making mistakes and going through it all.
I don't know if it's appropriate, and it may not be for you to share the quote on your wall, but
So let me see if I can see it. It's called the man, the man in the arena, and I can't. Let me see here. Hold on. You know what? I'm gonna pull it up real quick so that I can say it appropriately because it's so powerful. It's an incredible quote by Theodore Roosevelt, man in the arena, by Theodore Roosevelt or Teddy Roosevelt, depending on what you want to call him. And the quote goes like this: "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong person stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better." That's what we just talked about. "The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcomings, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows with great enthusiasm, the great devotion, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daringly or doing it daringly great, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory or nor defeat." Right? Where do you want to be up? Where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the stands, or do you want to be on the field where the action is, where things are happening, where the players are making money because of the things that they're doing? Mark, it's always a pleasure. I love this topic. We could go on and on. I know that we're coming to a close here, but one of those moments of, if there's something that you want to leave our listeners with, one tidbit, one nugget that they could really gain from this conversation, and really help them kind of figure out where they should be and analyze, where am I? And honestly, do it truthfully, because there are times where in life right now, all I have time is to be someone that sits in the stands, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So what's that nugget of, just that wisdom that you can leave with our listeners for this morning?
well, and I think I may have even shared this on another quick quote. It's a Hebrew quote that says, "If not me, who? If not now, when?" Like, if you join BNI again because you wanted to grow your income, your network, or your business, which is about all the same, we're here to support you. If you need help, like Ed said, there are coaches, directors, leadership teams that are here and trained to make sure you are successful in this journey. Reach out to us. We want you to succeed.
And there's actual coaches in those chapters as well.
And there's actual business coaches and life coaches. Yes.
Right. Someone like an Alex Terranova that you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you again so much. I appreciate our time together. I'm looking forward to another podcast and another topic. It's always a great joy. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Ed.
And for our listeners, it's always a pleasure. Again, last week we talked about one of our core values. Next week, we are coming down to our last two core values. Make sure that you stick around and tune in next week for the core value. And then 2 weeks later, we'll have on another amazing guest, one that's going to be new to our BNI San Diego podcast. So make sure you listen in. Again, thank you for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
This episode of the BNI San Diego podcast has been brought to you by Cruise Productions, a San Diego-based video production company and proud BNI member. You can find us at the intersection where business and creativity meet, or online at cruiseproductionsinc.com.